Welcome back. I thought for our final segment ever, I better give you guys something really special. And this caramel slice is nothing short of spectacular. It's very simple, but it's got the right amount of everything and it tastes absolutely magnificent. To start it off, you need to make the base. To make this, you'll need a cup and a half of plain flour, 3/4 of a cup of shredded coconut, 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar, and 180 grams of butter. To begin with, we need to get our butter melting. So once your butter's melted, grab it out and we can get this base going. So all your ingredients in, start off with your dry ones. Make sure you mix all this through before you add your butter. Otherwise you can tend to get lumps and things, whereas this will get you a nice consistent base. So once that's mixed through, in goes your butter. And then mix it through. It might look a little bit dry at first, but just keep working it through and it'll come good. So once it's started to form together, then you can get it into your baking dish. And you just want to spread it across the bottom. And then what you want to do is just form it in. Because we've got butter in here, we don't need to grease the baking tray. But if you're worried about it, you always can. It's better to be safe than sorry. So once you're happy that that's flat and even, then into the oven at 180 degrees for 12 minutes. So while your base is cooking, it'll give you a chance to get the filling on the way. To make that, you'll need a tin and a half of sweet condensed milk, 90 grams of butter, and 6 tablespoons of golden syrup. The reason why we're going to cook this first is because we want the butter and the golden syrup to work their way through the milk. Otherwise you're going to get little patchy bits all through your caramel slice. So just on low heat into your pan. Making sure you scrape every last bit out. Luckily it all fitted in there. We're running out of bowls heading towards the end of the season. There's been a few casualties along the way. So butter goes in next. And finally, our golden syrup. I'm guessing 1 second equals 1 tablespoon. Beats measuring. So, give this all a stir through. Make sure you keep stirring it because you don't want it to catch on the bottom. And just a nice low heat. So once your base is cooked, grab it out. And just let this set. You want to give your base just a few minutes before you put your filling on top, because that way it's going to set, and it means that it's not going to sort of melt the filling before it gets a chance to caramelize. And it's that caramelization that makes a caramel slice, so it's an important bit. So once your filling is melted and your base is set, then get it on. Now, back into the oven for another 10 minutes. So 10 minutes later, grab out your caramel slice. And it should be looking pretty caramelly, just like this. And now what you want to do is just let this sit for about 30 minutes and let it cool down and let it set. Then we're going to put our chocolate on. So once that's been sitting there for half an hour, you'll notice it's collapsed down and it's quite well set. Next step, chocolate. So in here I've got 200 grams of dark chocolate and 200 grams of milk chocolate. In here, 100 grams of butter. So in they go together, if I can get it out, and then into the microwave. When you're melting chocolate in the microwave, it's a really good way of doing it, but it's important to stop it every 20 seconds and give it a stir, just so it evenly goes through. And I've had a lot of success melting chocolate in the microwave, a lot more than I've had on the stove. So every time I go for it. So, last one, making sure it's all melted through. And you'll notice that with the butter, it helps thicken the chocolate up a bit. And by whipping it around like this, you'll get a really nice shine on the top. And the other thing the butter does is help it set. So, you've got this here, it's room temperature. You got your melted chocolate. It's very important to put your chocolate on while it's at room temperature, because that way it sort of forms together and holds together. If your base is cold when you put it on, then it's going to all split apart once you start cutting it. So spread it nice and evenly. And now we'll pop this in the fridge for about an hour to set. It doesn't matter if you need it quicker than that, it just won't be as firm. So an hour later, your caramel slice should be set. So I'll grab it out and have a look. The people are here though, so if it's not set, it's bad luck anyway. So run your knife around the outside. Just to loosen it up. And now you want to start cutting it into portions. So not too big, because this is pretty rich. But grab them out and they should look perfect, just like that. The difference between this caramel slice and most other caramel slices is there's not a very big base on it. So most of your flavours through your caramel and through your chocolate. And you don't need to jazz it up too much when you're serving it, because the flavour from this will speak for itself. So, ready to go out to the people, but I can't carry all this on my own. So, hey Mark, get in here. Well, the food must have been all right, because everyone's still hung around. Was it all right, guys?
Yes!
Well, all good things must come to an end though, and being our final episode, I've got the boring bit, all the thank yous. But a big thank you goes out to you guys, the viewers, because without you guys watching, then probably no point making the show. Especially those ones that have written emails and messages on Facebook. It's really great to hear that you guys are using the recipes and cooking at home, because that's the main reason why we started it. Big thank you to those people who have let us dirty up their kitchens and use all their utensils, and especially to those ones that have hung around to do the dishes at the end. A big thanks to Jess and Greg and everyone that's helped put the show together. And to all my guest chefs that have stood beside me and made my job a little bit easier. And finally, a big thanks to our director, producer, editor, cleaner, janitor, driver. Talking about my sister Bridie, get on down here. We finally made it. Yeah. Cheers. Cheers, guys. Cheers. Well, that's it, guys. It's all over. But make sure you become a fan on Facebook so you can find out where we're going to pop up next. But if you miss me, you can always catch me on my website as well. I'll see you guys soon.